What's up, Rob? Are you watching? Okay. What's up, buddy? How you doing? I'm getting started in just a few minutes. Getting the YouTube ready. So, kind of going to both. And I'm glad you're watching because then you get to see that the whole time. And you don't get to have it. I'm doing pretty good. Just prepping up the show a little bit. I'm going to get everything situated. Okay. Make sure I'm on and ready to go. All right, we're going to get started in just a few minutes. Okay. Got all my stuff ready for tonight. Got a lot of topics to get to. Make sure you guys are right there with me because I have some topics for you guys as well. Okay. All right. What's up for everybody who's watching out there? Just getting prepped, getting my, the YouTube to go live and live here on Facebook. And I'm going to get started in just a few seconds. Hang on for just a few. Okay. All right. Right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast. I am your host, Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob himself. Thanks for joining me. This is the Scene Snobs podcast live every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. If you go over to thescenesnobs.com, I've put up a calendar of all of our live shows and when they are on. So you can go, you can check them out, and there are even links to exactly where they're going to be live and where you can go. And there's links to the Facebook, the YouTube, the whole 9 yards. You can find us. It's definitely out there. And if you scroll a little lower on thescenesnobs.com, we have all of our past shows edited and there for your watching pleasure or listening pleasure, if you will. Make sure you give us likes and subscribes. Big help all the way, giving subscribes on the podcast platforms like SoundCloud we're on or YouTube. It's a big way to go and to get sponsorship, stuff like that. I'm at the Scene Snob on all social media. We have at Behind the Box Pod on all social media. We're a growing entity. The Scene Snobs channel has become much bigger than when we started, of course, and that's a good thing. So I appreciate all the continued support. And we're here today. We're on not just the Facebook Live. We're here also on YouTube Live. So we're streaming over there as well on the YouTube channel. And couldn't be more excited. But I am so glad you guys are joining in. Thanks very much. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of geek news going on. I put out some topics for you guys too, which I'll go over right now. This is something where we can interact and talk. Hey, Christy, how you doing? Thanks for joining in. This is just ways that we can talk and we can kind of, I can hear your opinions on things and stuff like that. So, because we are very news centric today, I'm going to go with here are our topics for tonight so we can all discuss. And by all means, please, I encourage you to talk about whatever news we're talking about and things like that as well. So, which characters in Marvel and DC movies would you like to see recast? Now, that's been happening a lot. Fans have been saying, maybe they didn't like this person here, or, they're not too sure about this person in the future, things like that. So I want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear what you guys think about who should be recast in those and who you'd like to see. What streaming services are worth getting? Is HBOMax worth getting? Now, that's a big one I kind of want to talk about because there's a lot of streaming out there and there's a lot of fun stuff. So I want to know what you guys think. What do you have? What do you kind of weary about, like, maybe you're hanging on for a show here or something like that, is HBOMax, a big one that's coming out. I think tomorrow is its first day. Is it worth getting for $15 a month? I don't know. They seem to have a lot going on, and we'll get into that as well. And we're also, to get away from the movie geek stuff for just a second, we are sending 2 astronauts into space tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Make sure you guys are watching out of Kennedy. We're going to be sending 2 astronauts to space from American soil for the first time, I think, in 9 years, which is huge. And it's a beautiful step forward into the space program here in America. And I love that we're working with SpaceX and things like that. So big things happening. But I want to talk about, since that's happening and since it's exciting times and something for us to kind of rally around, I want to talk about space travel movies. Last week, we talked a lot of time travel. Today, I'm going to talk about space travel. I'm going to talk about your favorite space travel movies, TV shows, everything. So I want to hear it, and I want to hear everything you got to say and more. I will get to comments in a second. I do want to talk a little bit about this article that came out yesterday on Memorial Day, which garnered a lot of hate. So much so that we actually saw it taken down by the very site that put it up. So how sites generally work, especially like news sites, like geek news sites, things like that. Not just geek news sites, but most sites that have articles or opinion pieces, things like that. They find contributors and they pay those contributors, or sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's contributions are volunteered. They seek out these contributors and they come out and they kind of these different contributors will write different things based on what the site is looking for. So CBR, Comic Book Resources, has been a big site for comic book movies, comic books themselves, things like that, for a long time. For a long time, they've been more clickbait than anything, in my opinion, but they do sometimes have some pretty good articles. Sometimes they have some really terrible fluff stuff that I just can't take. And yesterday was no different, and it was a very odd choice to put this up on yesterday, especially being Memorial Day. And let me read off to you. If you can't find it, I found it on archive.is, and if you go to look at CBR for this title, you can get the link and put it on archive.is and read it yourself. I'm just going to kind of cover it a little bit, and then I want to hear opinions on what you guys think. So Steve Rogers wasn't a hero for becoming Captain America. He was selfish. While he's Marvel's golden boy, Steve Rogers decided to be Captain America was based on his own selfish desires. Now, just by that title alone, it's kind of setting a wildfire in the geekdom nation of almost like, how dare you? And it did big time. But it was so much so. It was so much backlash that they've taken it down since then. And I kind of want to get into it because I read it, and I got to be honest with you. This is, if anything, it's just it's either trying to cancel Captain America, which, what are you doing? I mean, how do you cancel something? Well, A, that's been around for almost 80 years, and B, how do you cancel something that is in its own nature trying to be altruistic and is fictional? It's ridiculous. Or it might just be the writer decided I want to kind of get people's goat a little bit. All right, so Captain America is one of the most important characters in Marvel history, and without him, many of the great stories of the Marvel Universe would not happen or wouldn't be the same. He is central to the entire framework of Marvel's storytelling, and Captain America is emblematic of justice, honesty, and perseverance, making him the ultimate culmination of the American ideal. However, the decision for Steve Rogers to become Captain America is inherently selfish. Steve was rejected from the military due to his small stature and health issues. But then his life changes when he is invited to join the super soldier program, which is how he becomes Captain America. However, when removing the context of what he would become, the decision is selfish. Rather than contribute to the ways best suited to him, Steve chooses to undergo experimental treatments to artificially enhance himself. Steve's choice to become Captain America is rooted in his fetish of the hypermasculine rather than the innate desire to do good for his country. Okay. Here's something I take umbrage with. You can look at this that way. Of course, you can look at anything anyway if it really came down to it. It's kind of a stupid way to look at things when, again, the whole point of this was he is completely selfless. He is trying to, he just wants to be there. He wants to fight, just like he sees all of his friends go. If you go by the movies, that's the way it is. If you go by the comic books, that's the way it is. And he volunteers in the comic books. He volunteers to do this, to the super soldier program. And if you go by the movies, the Doctor, played by Stanley Tucci, is very adamant about him because and they even explain it in the movie, it enhances everything. Even your personality, and being a good man is what's important. And that's why he's the most fitted for this. And it's been proven time and time again in how he does things. In the movie, which is kind of where this is going. This isn't even following the comic books. That's why I'm sticking more towards the movie side of things. He is completely he jumps on a grenade to save everybody. I mean, you can't get much more selfless than that. So when people write articles like this, it's bad writing, in my opinion. And people are just kind of going for their hot takes and they want to go on from there. And it's disturbing a little bit. It's sad to see that it's kind of like that. In the sense that you have somebody coming out on Memorial Day and with a very well-known website backing them, saying, "Okay, I wrote this article," and it's basically showing how Captain America is all about hypermasculinity and how his choice to become Captain America is, as I just read to you, is completely selfish. Like, it's utterly ridiculous, and I hate the way the media is handling things now. And I kind of want to rant on that a little bit. And I see there's some got quite a few, but let me get to those in just a second. So I hate, and the media just keeps doing this, and it's just clickbait crap. And there's no real good writing to it. More and more every day I read articles that aren't edited. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like when I write something, I don't need it to be edited. I absolutely do. I absolutely need to be edited, and it should be. You should always have other eyes look it over, especially other eyes that maybe, yes, you trust, but will give you a different perspective to what you're writing. Maybe doesn't always agree with your take on things. I think is an important quality to add to your work. But when if you're surrounded by people who are like, yes, this will get so many clicks, and it's not passing a message across. Ed, I saw that you entered. Hey, how you doing, buddy? And it's not getting not even just a message. It doesn't have to always be about an agenda or a message, but it does have to say something. It has to have an opinion in there. And it's sad when stuff like this comes out and you put it out on Memorial Day of all days. I mean, come on. You're definitely, all you're doing is trying to get people riled up. And more and more we see this, more and more. And don't get me wrong, it happens on the other side too. I watch a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of articles. And when Captain Marvel was coming out and Brie Larson was talking about she's tired, and she wasn't even talking about Captain Marvel. I want to separate this. She was talking about a movie she did, I don't think she worked on, but she was talking about. One of her co-stars was talking about. I cannot remember which one it was, but I know Oprah was in it. Or I believe Oprah was in it, or if not, she produced it or something. I'll have to look that up, so don't hold me against that. Hold that against me. But my point being is Brie Larson says something to the effect that she's tired of defending certain movies that aren't meant for like old white dudes who are old white geek dudes, something to that effect. And I got mad when I first heard that because look what I do. I'm the scene snob. I'm an old white geek dude. But then I went and I looked at it, and I kind of got an idea. They were goading her with their questions, and kind of where that was coming from. And she got mad and she said something. Listen, I'm not saying that her opinions are something I agree with. I've heard a lot of different opinions from her. I've seen some of her stuff, like movies that she's worked on, and I just didn't enjoy. But then I keep my mouth shut. But then you have these other guys who don't keep their mouth shut, and they have to hate, and they want her fired from Captain Marvel and the whole nine. So you have that other side. And they're generally the ones who really rally against like the ones that are going against Captain America in this article. And that's what kind of bugs me is like there's no happy medium. Like I read this article, I thought it was stupid. It was taken down, and I think it should have been because it was really truly a clickbait thing, and it was trying to rile the masses, and that sucks. So yeah, take down bad writing. I'm okay with that, but at the same time too, if it's off your site, this guy wants to publish it wherever he wants to put it on Twitter or whatever, leave him alone. Like let him do it. You can not everybody's entitled to an opinion, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Like you can put your opinion out there, but it doesn't mean you're entitled to it. And also a lot of people I've heard talking about this. So their opinions are very vicious. And I also don't think that's a right way to attach yourself to things too. So I'm trying to, I hated the article. I don't like what it said. It was clickbait bullshit. But at the same time too, it was clickbait bullshit on the part of CBR, comicbookresources.com. From the writer standpoint, he might have meant it. He might believe this. I don't know. I haven't talked to the writer. And Wrinkle in Time was the movie. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ed Brock. I knew she was in it though. I knew Oprah had been in it, and I think they were talking about the little girl in it. And they were just saying something like she wasn't believable or something. And it really, I forget. I have to look it up. Like you can look that up. But so going back though, all of this stuff that's being done in the past 24 hours, CBR was wrong. They rectified it by taking it down. If this guy truly believes in what he wrote, put it back up somewhere else. Put it back up in your own site, That's why I run my own site. I want to put up what I want to put up. And I don't want to put up with what I don't want to put up with, So more power to him if he wants to do that. But dude, you got to become a better writer. Stop trying to write the hot takes. I'm not saying that you don't believe in the message you were trying to get across in this, but you were definitely trying to pander. And that's bullshit. Any writer needs to stop pandering to the masses and you write your opinion for what it is. Stop trying to piss people off. Like it's okay if you can see both sides. It's okay if you can agree with certain things on both sides. But that writing BS, that's my ultimate point of all this. It was kind of a very long roundabout point. You'll have to excuse me. But as my message to that writer is, that was pandering bullshit, and don't do it when you're writing. I hate when people pander. And I hate when people disagree. I hate when people disagree with fans or try and piss off the mega fans and things like that just because they feel like it's creating controversy. And that's what this was doing. And, I just hate that type of journalism. And I know it's far-stretched to call an opinion piece on Captain America journalism. I understand. But it trickles down. It goes from the top, comes all the way down. It happens. I'm going to kind of move away from this because I'm sure I'll piss off somebody with something I'm saying. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. So we got Rob here. We are there going off the comic or the movie? They're going off the movie, Rob. You could argue that in the movie, the beginning makes it look like he's just got something of a small man complex. However, once he jumps on the fame grenade, it shows he genuinely wants to save people. I think it. Yeah, I see your point. I think they let you know that very early on that he is very much wanting to put his life on the line because so many others are. I think it proves that point. I don't think that it ultimately proves that when he jumps on a grenade. It proves it to his peers when he does that. But I think we see that very early on. Christy, sometimes I think writers just try to conjure up a hot take and they forget to take into account that the reason the take is not a common one might be because it's lacking in merit or fact. Yes, Christy, I 100% agree with that. And I wouldn't even. I'd say that was the point of CBR. That's why they took it down. I would say they probably assigned it to this writer. Or that's one of the writers they have contribute to him, and he turned it in. They're like, we could put this up on Memorial Day and really get some people going. But either way, it was bad writing and it was a bad call. Rob, also they made the argument in the movies the only thing special about him came from a bottle. Tony Stark and Tony apologized later for it. Well, yeah, because that isn't that's. But again, Rob, like if you go back to the first Captain America movie, they tell you straight up. Everything is told to you. You see it in the movie. The special thing about him was that he was a good man. He has a good heart. He is altruistic and honest in his virtues and things like that, and virtuous. Holds to his virtues, things like that, and his values. But anyway, hey Brian, what's going on, man? Ed, again, thanks for the assist on A Wrinkle in Time. So I want to move on to my next thing. So now that we're kind of going there and we have one side trying to piss off the fans, I don't know who was watching last week, but you may have seen that I talked about the Snyder Cut of Justice League a little bit. And I was, not putting it out there. It was just kind of putting the puzzle pieces together is why I came up to it. And then and for lack of a better term, sort of predicted, but it was more of an educated guess that this would happen, that the Snyder Cut was going to go to HBOMax. And for a long time, fans have been calling for the Snyder Cut of the movie. Because if you don't remember, Zack Snyder was the helming everything in DC, Man of Steel, equals something I will. Rob, you got to think your stuff through. So he manned Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman. He was producing Wonder Woman, kind of going through the motions, and he did Justice League. He started Justice League. He got fired off Justice League. They brought Joss Whedon on. Joss Whedon, famed for Buffy and Firefly and so many other things that we love. And of course, you had what was it, Avengers. So he did the first Avengers movie, and he knocked it out of the park. It was a great movie. That Marvel fit his look, his feel to the movies. He was not a good fit for the DC world and what they were building when Zack Snyder was building. Because if you watch that movie, it's very much something that didn't work. But I also didn't think Batman v Superman worked. So I'm not 100% convinced that Zack Snyder's view was the best or made it amazing. It might make it better. I'm excited to see the Zack Snyder cut of the film, but now you have the celebrities coming out. Basically what had happened was the Snyder cut was kind of put away. He did finish the movie, and it was put away because then they had Joss Whedon come in and kind of reshoot a bunch of stuff because they wanted more family friendly. I think they wanted it to fit more along the lines of like what Marvel was doing, the look. What they don't get was that Marvel had been planning this for over 10 years. So with a few things that came out, last Tuesday I did the show, and I said, I think that Zack Snyder is going to come out and say HBO Max bought the rights to the Snyder Cut. Then you have, and the reason I said that was because there was a billboard with Justice League on it that said HBO Max. Did not say Snyder Cut or anything like that. It just was the Justice League. Then you had Zack Snyder coming out, and he was going to do a Q&A Zoom thing with the writers and the actors and such from Man of Steel. And while they all do a watch party watching the movie. Afterwards, he came out and he talked about it, and he hinted heavily that the Zack Snyder cut is coming to HBO Max, which has now been confirmed. Yeah, Jason Momoa ranting about it. He wanted it out. Ben Affleck, after it was officially confirmed, came out, and he's happy it's coming out. Bunch of things going on. DC still screwing up DC. We know it, but the fans sort of won out, and that is a big way. The fans have kind of been taken on the chin for a little while now, with how Star Wars sort of turned out, how Doctor Who's turning out, many, many things. And before anybody who is listening thinks I'm talking about Doctor Who because it's a woman doctor, absolutely not. I think Jodie Whittaker's a great actress. Has nothing to do with that. It's terrible writing. It is a terribly written show. I wish there was a different showrunner with her as the doctor, and I think they'd knock it out of the park. But that's just me. So, with that being said, there's so many things that they will not listen to the fans on, And I'm not saying that you should write a movie or produce any movie solely for the fans. You have to be creative for yourself. You have to put together your own story, your own vision. But when you take these things that have such a fan base, you do have to create a little bit. It has to, I think Tim Burton did that really well with the original Batman and Batman Returns. I think Christopher Nolan did that really well with all three Batman movies. Richard Donner, of course, did that great with Superman movies. So, and there's many other comic book movies that we can talk about, the Blade movies, things like that, that were cradled well and taken care of. Now, when it comes to fans getting their way, sometimes the fans are right. We have seen that with Sonic the Hedgehog. They listened to the fans, they changed it, and I think it was wildly better and more well received. They're listening to it, the Snyder Cut, and they're going to start listening to other things as well. And it's a very happy time. It's very nice to see that. I really hope they listen to that with Indiana Jones, personally. Let's see what some of you guys have to say about the topic. All right. So, Rob, watch. Okay. Zack Snyder Cut equals something I will watch, but not something I think will be good. I think it will be better than what we got, and that's saying something because that movie was terrible. Rob, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman were terrible. Wonder Woman was good, but plotline was way too close to First Avengers. No, I mean, I would say it's way too close to the first Captain America. Oh, the first event. Okay, I got you. So we were talking about Brian Patrick Nerd. You know it, buddy. Rob Gosher, the actors supporting the cut seems like a middle finger to Joss Whedon. I'm not sure how they could support both directors, but not Whedon's fault that he was asked to reshoot the movie. He had a job, he did it. And blaming him for how DC turned out isn't fair. It was on downhill. It was all downhill well before he showed up. I don't know that it was well on. Yes, it was downhill because of DC. I never blamed Joss Whedon. I said that his version of the Justice League isn't good. Stand by that. So his version of Justice League was very good. It wasn't very good, but it doesn't mean that Joss Whedon's bad. I just said that he has tons of content that is truly amazing. Firefly, the Serenity movie that followed it up. Dollhouse was great. Buffy was great. He did great on the first Avengers movie. He has things that he's suited to do. That Justice League wasn't one of them in the world that was being built by Zack Snyder, and they didn't let Zack Snyder finish that. So with what's happening now, we may get a better version. Now, you're talking about the Justice League, arguably way bigger than the Avengers in comic book terms. So, and has three of the biggest superheroes of all time, arguably bigger than anybody in the Avengers in the original. So, I don't hate the fact that they're going to put out his cut. I want to see it. I want to see what it brings out. Let's see what Brian says. Yeah, nobody likes anything. That's not true. There's some things I don't like. Casey says Justice League can only be better if the Snyder Cut has a different Batman. I disagree with that. I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I did not like him in the Justice League where he wasn't Batman. He didn't wear a mask the entire time, but I don't think that was him. And Doctor Who has just gone wildly inconsistent, off the rails, trying to do too much without property using the great cast. I agree. I think we agree on that sentiment. Brian Patrick, the fans can be toxic. Fandom should foster community and not require proof of total knowledge or be so inaccessible. Yes, it's a great point. Okay, well, let me read Ed's real quick before we get into that. Though I loved Man of Steel and thought BVS was okay, I did like Snyder's take. We hear all the time, now there's nothing new, nothing different, but Snyder gave us something different. I do agree. My problem is that Snyder is not a great storyteller. He is a great visualist. I think his movies are visually stunning. And all of those movies you just mentioned are beautiful movies. Joss Whedon the same way. He can build a universe. They both can. But you need to start trusting. Joss Whedon needs to know what his wheelhouse is. And if he didn't start the DC world, then this was a cash grab for him because he knew he wouldn't be able to finish it. He has to build the universe for it to work. He has to have everything. He can't just come into a project. And he's proven that time and time again. Now, I agree with you. I don't want to see a Snyder Cut too. Brian, you are right. Fans can be toxic. And I'm not saying fans should have a say in everything. And I'm not even saying that you should tailor everything to the fans. I think stories can be told. Perfect example, Star Wars. I really like The Force Awakens. I like the way that J.J. Abrams took it. A lot of fans, toxic fans, hate J.J. Abrams. I don't know why. There are things I like that he really does. There's some things I don't like that he does. That goes for a lot of directors. But I thought he did a great job of Force Awakens. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't. But A New Hope was a great movie, but was an even better movie when you can watch Empire Strikes Back right after it, which is a great movie. They didn't do that with Last Jedi. They didn't get a great director to come in or a writer and say, all right, I'm going to make a great movie. They got somebody who was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about this product, and I'm going to do whatever I want and change whatever I want. And he did, admittedly, and that hurt a lot. So, and then JJ had to play, how can I fix 3 movies worth of issues in 1 movie? And you can't. And that's all we get. That's all we get. It ain't coming back. Leia's gone. Carrie Fisher, the princess herself, is gone. And it's sad to say, but true. So I do agree with toxic fandom, and I do like that. I do want to get to some of our topics, though, just in case anybody's joining in. They don't know our topics just yet. Our topics for tonight are: which characters in Marvel and DC movies would you like to see recast? What streaming services are worth getting? Is HBOMax worth the price? Because that's going to be $15 a month, and that starts tomorrow. And since we are sending 2 astronauts into space from American soil, first time in 9 years, I want to know. Let's talk about space travel movies. And TV shows. I want to talk about some of your favorites, and we'll go from there. Of course, there's Star Trek, Star Wars, the whole 9. Let's really get into it. I love Doctor Who. That's probably my favorite universe, sci-fi universe of all time, even though it's very sci-fi fantasy. But those are 3 topics to talk about tonight. And sound off. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Rob, you said something a little bit earlier I wanted to read. Sorry I put it off, but I kind of got into this rant. And then I have a couple more news things to talk about. Okay, let's see. Where are we at, Rob Gautrez. I have Netflix, Amazon, Funimation, and Hulu. I don't know if I can afford HBO Max. It's like cable all over again. I do agree. Well, still cheaper than cable, I'm telling you, buddy. It's crazy. So here we go. Jason. Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining in. DC works better animated and on the CW. Ooh, that's a big one. I had to leave the CW shows. I couldn't handle them anymore. They were getting way too CW for me, for lack of a better term. I wanted them to work. Now Batwoman has a lot of issues. We talked about that last week with Ruby Rose quitting after her first season, and it was dismal response to that show at best. Yeah. Oh, Christy. Okay, I'll read your just 1 second. So, just to address the CW TV, DC shows, I think they're overextending themselves. And yes, the crossovers are a cool concept that I really think they failed on the last one. You did Crisis, and like it was a lot of fluff and not enough substance, in my opinion. So it really turned me off to even going back. And it's a shame to see Ruby Rose go, because she was the only thing I liked about the Batwoman show. Christy says, I'm considering Acorn TV. I want to watch Dead Still. I am too, actually. Acorn TV sounds pretty awesome, actually, by everything I've been seeing. I kind of want to check that out myself. So, what do we got here? All right. So, Scott Derrickson. Scott Derrickson directed the first Doctor Strange movie. He directed, let me pull up his IMDb list here. Oh, yeah, he was Sinister. Director. He was producer of Sinister. Yeah, the first Doctor Strange movie, Deliver Us from Evil. He did do Sinister, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Exorcism of Emily Rose, and Hellraiser Inferno. So he has his roots in sort of the absurd, if you will. He just got hired on to direct the new Labyrinth sequel, and well, first of all right, when it comes to Labyrinth, a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I don't think it needs a sequel. I didn't think it needed a TV show. First of all, if you don't have Bowie, you don't have anything, in my opinion. Goblin King reigns supreme. Labyrinth, Legend, things like that. Those are movies that are Willow, even though they're going to be doing a sequel to that as well. Those are movies that were so good and have such rewatchability. I don't know why you would ever think about redoing it or even trying to attempt a sequel, which, let's face facts, most sequels to things that came out in the 80s today are just basically remakes. And I don't know, like, this guy, it seems right up his alley with things he's directed in the past, but is it? Do I really need it? Like, I don't think that's a movie that should be touched. When you tell me you're going to remake Halloween for the 5th or 6th time, I'm fine with it. I love the Halloween franchise, and that's a different. It's just a whole different ball game, in my opinion. Like, when you go horror, like, you can keep pumping those out, and yeah, they're going to be good or they're not going to be good. If they're not good, then you kind of revisit it again in a few years. But like movies like this, movies like Labyrinth, I don't think should ever be revisited. That's my opinion. And Scott Derrickson jumping on, especially with a very thin. Yeah, okay, you did Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was going to do well, no matter who was directing. And I'm not saying that he didn't do a good job. He did a good job, and I like Sinister, and I like other things he's done. But I got to tell you, I'm not too sure like this is a movie that we need. And that's just kind of where I'm standing with that. Let me know what you guys think, though. I want to know if you like the choice. I think he'll fit. I think his vision will work in the Labyrinth world. But I'm anxious to see what happens. The only thing I thought was really cool about Labyrinth was, I think the kid that was in it is now working on the TV show. Or no, that's Dark Crystal, isn't it? Am I getting my movies mixed up? Sorry, I have a lot to talk about, and I'm losing my mind a little bit. No, I'm not. Am I? I can't be. Dark Crystal was the one that had the TV show. Was it? Into a heck of a Kermit fuzzy voice. No. Was it? Somebody tell me if I'm messing up or not. I can't remember. Let me look it up real quick. It's been a long time. Is it? No, yeah, it was Labyrinth that had. Why am I losing my mind? I'm going to listen to you guys. So, okay, here we go. Where are we at? Let's see what everybody has to say about this. Going back to Christy. In my opinion, the CW just makes everything ridiculous action soap opera that happens to be populated by superheroes. I agree. And now has to, I would go one step further and say not just superheroes, but comic book. Because of, was it the Archie comics is now, Riverdale is one. And now they have Nancy Drew, and they think they have Katie Keene, and God, man, they're just all over the place. Okay, Len Francis, it's not ritzy by any means, but I've always liked Armageddon, Michael Bay explosions, special effects, insane plotline. I always dug it too. I know what it is. I've always been a fan of that myself, honestly. So you can hate it, you can love it. It is what it is. But I do love Armageddon for its absurdity of what it is. Dark Crystal had a prequel, just bad. Just give us another fantasy Muppet movie, different universe, same feel. Okay, yeah. So Dark Crystal was the one that had the prequel. I was talking about Labyrinth and where that was going. So okay, that's why I got mixed up. Disney Plus is releasing a new Muppet show. I'm excited about that. They've done it so many times. I like that Office one they did, and then they got rid of it. Rob, me too. I can do one heck of a Kermit and Fozzie voice, sir. Fozzie. Labyrinth, kid works for Henson Productions. Yes, okay. So I knew I was right about something. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong. So bear with me. Let me get off Labyrinth so that way I stop sounding like an idiot. Scream 5. Who's up for Scream 5? Raise your hand. Why not? I just talked about it. I just talked about how horror movies are fine. I think you can always just keep remaking horror movies. It's never going to be a problem. Scream 4 was not that good, but I still watch it. It's a guilty pleasure. But that's what it is. It's a guilty pleasure. Scream 3 I liked because it was funny, but it is not a good horror movie. Scream 2 I liked, and Scream is great. We are showing it this week. Little plug. This week's group movie watch is Scream, so make sure you join in. Starts 7:30 on Saturday, right here in the Facebook channel and the YouTube channel. So we got Scream 5 coming out. Now we have David Arquette come out and say he's going to be in it. He's going to reprise Stewie. We have Nev Campbell talking about coming back to do it. Courtney Cox, I don't think I said anything. So we're going to have Scream 5. After 4, where do you go? That's kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit, was where do you go after 4? Where do you take them? How many times can you attack this woman and her friends? I mean, I guess over and over again, but everybody who keeps attacking them dies. So, like, why do people want to keep attacking? Wes Craven, sadly, departed from us, I think it was 2015, and so he will not be helming, and we'll see what happens. But I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about it. Is it even worth revisiting at this point? Oh, if not, only because where do you go? Is it going to be a good story? Can you get more vicious with it? Can you kind of, you know, I don't know, tell a whole new story with a whole bunch of new kids and not connect them, but maybe like have Sydney see in the news and then like kind of involve herself? I don't know. Where do we go? I want to hear what you guys have to say about that. That was a topic I wanted to throw out there as well. So let's see what some people are saying. Scream 5, what is a scary movie? Yeah, right. I know. Scream 4 is basically the first one with a new cast. And it, yeah, but they yes, I mean, that's essentially what they were trying to pass it off to be. But with that twist in the end, it wasn't the first one. It was her trying to make it the first one. So that's what I kind of like about it. I like, whereas a lot of people didn't like the twist ending in it, but liked the lead up to it. I liked the twist, and I didn't love the lead up. So, for me, the fact that the only reason it was like the first one, and Sydney was kind of being reminded that it was like the first one, is because she was, through the whole thing, was planning this whole thing out to mess with her cousin, and realize that I have to kill her off and be the final girl, so that way I can get essentially the YouTube fame, So where do we go? Okay, what do some of you guys say? Sydney has to finally go bad. Her character has had no development and can't be sane after all this. That's a fair assessment, especially after family members were dying in the last one. Len Francis, yeah, the franchise sells. It makes money. Even the TV show on MTV had a good reviews. I watched that one, and I watched the one on VH1. One on VH1 I didn't dislike. I liked that one, but I gotta tell you, I didn't love where I went with it. Christy agrees with Rob. Sydney has to snaps and kills everyone. Again, I don't dislike that idea. Sydney kills Dumbledore. That's probably true. I dig it, Jason. Len, there was talk about part 4 would have her as the killer, but they switched it. Yes, yep, Dumbledore is toast. That is true. But is that the next logical conclusion? Is she the one that snaps? Or is she the red herring? I kind of like that idea. I kind of wish they set it up that she had a daughter. I don't know. Like, I would have been better if she had a daughter and then her daughter was kind of dealing with it. I don't know. Just kind of lineage thing. Screen 5, Dewey is revealed to be the mastermind behind all the killings because he is in love with Sydney. He even got her brother on board. How dare he? Dewey was in love with Sydney the whole time and just wanted Jerry O'Connell dead. Wanted Billy dead. He wanted Jerry O'Connell dead. I can't remember his name from the second one. But I will forever call him Jerry O'Connell anyway. So that's a big deal. So, speaking of space travel, we were talking about, some of our favorite space travel movies, and you guys have definitely answered that. Doug Limon has been chosen as the director to direct Tom Cruise's space movie. So keep talking about Screen 5. I want to read them. Dewey and Sydney, Natural Born Killers too. I like it. I like it a lot. That would be okay. After retiring from the sheriff's department, Dewey goes out, right? Wants to become a professional wrestler, like his hero, WCW heavyweight champion, David Arquette. So he decides to go out there, become a wrestler known as Dwight the Mad. Maybe even dresses up as Ghostface. Add a little lore to it, and he fails miserably because he can't deliver a good promo. And then he's fired. His wrestling career is over. He returns to Woodsboro to a drunken, haphazardly Sydney just roaming about town. Gail is gone. She's probably written a book and is doing something there again. You see where I'm going with this. And they decide to hatch the plan to kill some kids. Why? No motives. It's 2020. Motives are incidental. We don't need them. Screen 5. Randy returns. Maybe he was in it all along with Dewey. God, can you believe it? Red herring. Now we are doing Pup Named Scooby-Doo references. Red herring is a very old reference, longer than Pup Named Scooby-Doo. I'd like to say you're dating yourself, but since you didn't know that, you're not dating yourself. Did you look up a Pup Named Scooby-Doo, Pretty Rob? Is that what happened? Is the other brother who is the town priest also a character in this? I don't know. I'm making this stuff up as I go. I'm Indiana Jonesing it. But I don't know where the next logical step to take number 5 would be. Where does it go from here? Where do we go from here? I don't know. I'm just playing along. So you get that. Speaking of cancel culture, Brian, if you're still watching, Josh Trank came out. Now, Josh Trank directed the infamously bad Fantastic Four movie. He did not cradle that at all. And fans were not campaigning. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. Fans were not campaigning for a director's cut, but they were like, maybe he has a director's cut. And he told the fans not to campaign for it. That's how bad it is. So fans are just going to win again. Fans are going to win again because we don't have to watch that piece of crap. Another version of that piece of crap. So we got a new Tenet trailer, which is Christopher Nolan's new movie with John David Washington and Denzel Washington's son. Who's an amazing actor in his own right. Rob Pattinson's in it. He looks awesome. And a few other Michael Caine's in it, things like that. So we are going to get this movie. This is probably going to be one of the first movies to come out this summer. It's still slated when theaters open back up. So I'm excited. I definitely want to see it. I definitely want to see what happens in it. And we'll see where we go from there. But it's not, I guess it's not a time travel movie. It's an inversion movie is what they're calling it. Still trying to figure that out myself, honestly. But I am excited. It's Christopher Nolan. He can do no wrong. Even if you didn't like certain movies of his, I think he still does fantastic work. Let's see what everybody's got with us. Because I got some more Scream stuff going on, and I definitely want to hear it. All right, Rob. You don't understand my love for Scooby-Doo. I'd never need to look it up. That's fair. Len Francis' daughter would be smart. Have her more in a cameo type role, possibly even finally kill her, a la JLC in Halloween 8. Kill who? Oh, have the daughter, have Sydney have a daughter, and the daughter is the killer? Is that what you mean? Casey says, Scream 5, The New Blood. God. Oh, God, I know where this is going. Scream 5, The New Blood. The principal's daughter from the first movie escapes from an asylum. Hints Sydney for revenge as she blames. She's going after Sydney for revenge as she blames Sydney for her father's death. So Principal Himbry's daughter, the Fonz's daughter, is going to come after him. Yeah, man, if you want to go 80s style sequel, that's a way to do it. I don't know that I'd hate it. Christy to Rob, I'm with you. The band I was in high school was originally called Mr. E's Machine. Mystery. Jesus. You know, I did a podcast years ago, and I was one of the co-hosts on it, and it was called Mystery Elephant. I had no idea why it was called Mystery Elephant. That's how reading this just reminded me how slow I was to figure out how. Eventually, I just had to ask me, like, why Mystery Elephant? It was Mr. Irrelevant, which works, and I think it was funny. But yeah, it took me way too long to figure that out. And Rob, Christy to Rob, when you said that Mr. E's Machine, it took me what, maybe 30 seconds to figure that out, and I think that was too long. I think I need to get checked. Yeah, so we got Scream 5 possibly coming out. I like a lot of these ideas. I think Hollywood needs to kind of get behind some of them. That would be awesome. So other than that, I mean, we talked about toxic masculinity, we talked about all that jazz and all that fun stuff. At the beginning of the show, we talked about Justice League and whatnot. So, going back to the horror world, if I can for a second, we have David Gordon Green came out and was talking about Halloween Kills, which is still supposed to come out this year. So I'm looking very forward to it. I really liked the 2018 Halloween. So Halloween Kills will be, I think, a lot of fun. It is supposed to be his most violent movie to date. What that means, I don't know. I'm excited to find out, though. I really am. Going back to it, though, where could it go? We have the girl, or the woman now. I mean, she was a little girl, Lindsay, in the first movie, returning to play Lindsay again. We have what do you call it? Anthony Michael Hall coming back to play Tommy Doyle, which I think is a missed opportunity from getting Paul Rudd. And we have, so we're going to have, like, I guess the town sort of seeking out now that the sheriff's dead, because I think it takes place on the same night. We have the town coming about to take out Michael Myers. So I'm anxious to see what happens there. Can't be more violent and bad taste like Zombies version. It can be, because the Halloween version of 2018 is incredibly violent compared to the movies before Zombies version. Zombie, you knew, was just going to be a violent take on it. So everything before that kind of became a oh, we got some stuff on YouTube as well. Casey says, agree, Ben Affleck was fine. His Batman character was absolute bogus. DC recast the rights. HBOMax is still too much. I agree with you, Casey, if you're still watching. I do agree with you on HBOMax being too much. I don't think it should be that much. But I think Halloween from 2018 was the right amount of violence and took Michael Myers up a notch, in my opinion, in a good way. And I think if it gets more violent in a natural progression state in this next movie and the movie after that, Halloween Ends, I'd be okay with that. As long as it's natural. See, it was already like straight over the top violent for Rob Zombie's first Halloween movie, but he realized there had to be some story in it. In that second one, it was just violence. He was just throwing violence at it. And I know he says that the higher ups messed with it a lot, and that may be true. I'm not going to take that away from him. But I will say this. Any other movie you watch with that is Rob Zombie's, it's very short on the story side and very high on the violent side. So I don't know how he can argue that for every movie. He does. So what do we got here? Paul Rudd doesn't look old enough. He hasn't aged since Clueless. Of course he hasn't. He hasn't aged since Halloween 6. Yeah, so just put him in there. It'd be fun. Get a little gray streak of hair. He'll be fine. He'll be great. And I think he would bring a perfect type of levity to it that I would love. Well, anyway, let's switch gears a little bit. Talk a couple other things. By all means, keep bringing up the topics. I want to know what you guys think topic-wise. And if you have any other topics you want to throw out, please, by all means. If you have any questions for me, go right ahead. But let me talk about tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we are doing the Behind the Box podcast. It is live, 7:30 here on the Facebook page and on the YouTube, on the YouTube channel. So, with that being said, it will consist of myself, Mrs. Lori Havermill, Mr. Rob Gosher, and Mr. Lenny Reedman. So we all join. We're all hosts of that show. It is a lot of fun to do. We're currently doing the Movie Monsters brackets. If you haven't been a part of it yet, go back, watch the last 3 weeks. Everything before that, like, you can watch and listen to that too. It's great stuff. But the last 3 weeks, we've been doing slashers. We've been piecing it together. Then we were doing slashers, the top 16 slashers in the bracket. Last week we did the top 16 alien movies in the bracket. This week is creature features, natural monsters of the nuclear variety. And then next week we'll end it with the supernatural monsters, and then the final 4 we will go to there. So my question is, where did you get that awesome Freddy glove in the back? Yes, that's a Psycho Cinema staple. They showed back in October. They showed Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, on the big screen. I went and saw it, and they had those. They had like a little pill of no-dos filled with jelly beans. It's amazing, and among other stuff. So it was a lot of fun. They always do really cool stuff. So we are going to go, but tomorrow night We are going to be arguing the top 16, like creature feature type monsters, stuff like that. The reason I'm bringing this up now on this show is because we have a lot going on, and I want you guys to kind of be aware of like the last two shows so you can kind of catch up. Oh, setting alarms. So make sure you check those out. Come over and check out the show tomorrow. Again, it'll be live tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. We'll all be on. With that being said, I'm going to get to your comments in a sec. Then, but before then, go to the scenesnobs.com. All right, it's kind of been overhauled a little bit of a new design. We have new stuff coming out, and I kind of want to talk about that a little bit on this show while you guys are watching. So we have the schedule up. As soon as you go on the website, it's right there with links to the social media where everything is, YouTube and Facebook, where we'll all be live. When it's live, what show it is. So to run down the list, Tuesdays, we are doing this right here. See, Sounds Podcast Live. Then Wednesdays, we do Behind the Box Podcast, our Cult Classic show. Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. right here on the Facebook page. We have Rob Paints the Movies. It's a lot of fun. It's his 10th episode this Thursday. He's going to be painting something really fun. It was not my pick, even though I won last week. I get to pick next week. He had this one set up for his 10th episode. And it matches the Behind the Box theme of Creature Features. Friday, we will be back on. Lenny and Rob came on as my guests. We are going to be doing a new show once Last Drive-In ends this season. Once it ends, the Scene Snobs Showcase is going to, the Scene Snobs Showcase Live is going to be coming out. Basically, it's a Friday night. If you want to be on a show, I might be reaching out to you, or if you want to come on a show or something like that. It's just going to be sort of a hangout thing. We will do Zoom meetings. It will be on YouTube. It will be on Facebook. I will have topics. We will play movie trivia. We will do other stuff. It will be a fun time. Think a Zoom fun version of hanging out with your friends, almost like what the Tonight Show was back in the day. Okay? So, like when they would just kind of hang out and do whatever. You want to have a drink? Have a drink. You want to come on? It starts at 9:30. It will be fun. This week, we're going to do it. We're going to start it at 8. Whoever wants to join in, come in. We'll talk for a little bit, and we'll finish up before 9, just so that way we can do, because we cover the Last Drive-In. So, again, if you want to be a guest on it, let me know. Get you on. We'll have a good time. We'll talk. I want to talk to artists. I want to talk to filmmakers. I want to talk to everybody. I want to have fun with this. I want to talk to other podcasters about their podcasts. I want to talk about what's going on in the world, things like that. If it can help you guys, and I can have some fun just hanging out, that's what I want to do. It's a showcase. Let's have fun with it. Let's see talents, different talents with it. So reach out to me on the Scene Snobs. If you're friends with the McManhattan account, reach out to me there, or reach out to me on the Scene Snobs if you have interest in being on the show, and we'll schedule you. And, we'll just go from there. Again, it will start after the Last Drive-In is over, which I think is like 3 or 4 more weeks. And then we're going to go into summer with it. We still do the group watch parties on Saturday. We are doing Scream this week. Starts at 7:30 right here on the Facebook page and on the YouTube channel. I will intro the movie. We press play at 8, as it has always worked. There will be a movie poster posted on the Scene Snobs Facebook page. That is the comment thread during the movie. After the movie, we're going to hop on. We're going to do trivia, things like that. There's a new way to do the trivia, which I think a lot of people thought was a lot of fun this past week for the Back to the Future watch. Let's just enjoy it and have a good time. Okay, go to the events section. It has all the information right there. So that's our shows. That's our schedule. Go to thescenesnobs.com. Go check out past episodes. All the links are on there. But make sure you go and you check out the schedule of what's going on. Okay, let me get to your comments real quick before we finish, because I know a lot of people were talking, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. All right, so you asked me about the Freddy glove. Christy says, check it out. It's really fun. I've got 4 endgame monsters. My team is stacked. No way I lose. We'll see. Color space, Rob. And then he says, watch me lose. So there you go. Len, he got it at a PC event from Nightmare on Elm Street. I explained that, sir. It'll be huge. Epic, as they say, the showcase. Christy says, nice. Hopefully that's the showcase. Christy, we got to get you on the show, too. Rob says, hey, Mick, awesome show. Heading to bed since I have an early start tomorrow. Looking forward to tomorrow. Me too, my friend. Night, Rob. I'm glad you guys joined. I hope you had a good time. You know, we do this every Tuesday. This is supposed to be a little more garnered towards, you know, the news that's going on and kind of one-on-one where I get to talk to you. But remember, the showcase is coming up. If you guys want to be on it, reach out to me. It'll be a lot of fun. Until next time, this has been the Scene Snobs podcast. Hope you had a good time. I am Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob himself. Make sure you give us likes and subscribes over on SoundCloud, on YouTube. This show will be edited and put out tomorrow. If anybody missed it, you can boast that. And until next time, remember, join in tomorrow night. We have Behind the Box starting at 7:30. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks very much.